You know, we live in this universe of infinite possibilities, right? But it swings this way and that way, and it gets messy at times, doesn't it? Everybody I talk to right now seems to have a little bit of a challenge going on, a little mess in their life that they're looking at how to have a new attitude towards. And it's made me think. I've really spent 3 weeks pretty much being alone, resting, having time to think and process and look at the miraculous way life works and the angels that are in our lives and how wonderful it is to see the bigger picture. You know, it's interesting. We asked somebody, well, is the glass half full or half empty? We want to test them to see if they're an optimist or a pessimist, right? But you know what the answer is? Yes. Yes. It's half full and half empty. It's both and. And we need to be able, what I was hearing this morning a lot from people is about trying to find a balance in life, whether it's physically, you know, we're a little wiggly sometimes, or whatever's going on, or if it's emotionally because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, or if it's spiritually. How do we find our balance? Well, the balance that I really found in these last few weeks, and, you know, preceding that, of course, is the balance between our inner life and the outer life, our spiritual self and our human self. Because if we can get that balance, then we can face pretty much any situation when we get the balance. But we have to do our inner work first. You know, the real title of today, Dave, you did a beautiful job, and I loved you doing that. That's our theme for the month, so thank you. Kirk told me when he got home after he did the e-blast, oh my gosh, I put the theme for the month and not the topic for the Sunday, and it's okay, as every problem has a solution. And if we could remember that in our lives, that we live in this creative universe that has a question and an answer and a question and an answer, it's always evolving and growing and becoming, that's a creative process, that we could live much better if we didn't always want the answer when. When do we want the answer? Right now. We want it now. We don't want it yesterday. We want it now in this moment. We don't want it tomorrow. We want the answer now. It was a beautiful Austrian poet and lyricist, Rainer Maria Rilke, early 20th century. And he said, "Have patience with everything that remains unsolved in your heart. Have patience with everything that remains unsolved in your heart. Live in the question." How perfect that is for our times right now. We can look at the world and see so much pain. I mean, we just look at earthquakes and flooding and wars and bombing and so much stuff going on. We just go, oh my gosh, there's so much pain in the world. But we can choose not to be a pain in the world. That's the difference. There is so much good. The thing is, the good, the kindness, the compassion, the love is often a lot quieter than the pain and the problem. But we can choose to look at life with kinder, more compassionate eyes, and to be a healing presence. Now, in these 3 weeks, there have been two very substantial things there's been so many wonderful lessons and, oh my gosh, things that have gone on. But I think my biggest life experience was my 12 hours in the UCI ER. I don't think I've ever been in an ER. I've gone to urgent care before. I've never really been in an ER. I haven't had a hospital experience. That just hasn't been my thing until now. But I had to keep in touch with the doctor after the surgery. Morning and night, I had to keep up with, communicate with him, because it was Kirk's birthday, and we were meeting the family in Encinitas, and we wanted to go there. And he said, "You can go, but you got to email me morning and night." And Tuesday morning, he said, "No, this is not normal. You have to come back we have to redo the, touch up the surgery, and we have to. So go to the ER, UCI ER, and just get your vitals done, and we'll take you in. Well, it didn't quite go that fast. It sounded much faster than that. And so we went in 5 hours before we got in. But my experience is just what we're saying. Who am I going to be here? I didn't really belong. There were a lot of people who really needed to be there, and I'm like, I'm taking up space. I had my blood taken, and there was a real crisis over here and something going on over there. And I thought, I'm taking up a seat. This place is crowded. What do I do? You choose to be a healing presence. You choose to send out love and light and goodness. And not only do you feel better, but you can see the problems turn into solutions, so you do that. And then they finally call after 5 hours and say, okay, we're taking you across the street to get to the doctor. And they wheeled me across the street, and then they told Kirk to take every single thing I had, my purse, my phone, my clothes, everything. So all I had was a very old, ratty hospital gown and some bright red socks. So they did the surgery, but then they were going to wheel me back to be observed overnight. Well, it was raining, and it was cold, and they wrapped the wheelchair in it's like, I was telling Kirk, it was like in a hospital show, like emergency or ER or something. They wheel me across in the pouring rain, and I'm just wrapped in blankets to go across. But there was no room in the hospital, so I had to stay in the ER in this little closet thing. And I just sat there, and I thought, again, am I taking up someone's space here? But I just was sending out love, and I said, okay. And the nurse came in, and she said, sweetie, we just don't know what to do with you. We're supposed to observe you. And I'm thinking, they don't observe here. They do. They fix. So I was like, okay, thank you. But Kirk didn't know where I was. Nobody knew where I was. And I said, okay, I'll just be a loving little presence here. Okay, so that was it. But I watched the nurses and how they worked, and I saw the people. It was a very interesting learning experience until at 12:30 at night, they tell me they finally have a room, and so they wrap me in blankets again and wheel me somewhere else. It was interesting. It was just an interesting experience for me, and I was just blessed that people are there to care, and I just have so much admiration for life and what it is. It's oftentimes we don't really know who we are till we hit those difficult situations. In religious science, what they tell you when you have a problem is what you do is what? Thank you. Could you say it a little louder? Pray. We're supposed to pray. We pray. We connect and commune with God when there's a problem, right? But how often do we pray all day? We may pray for 5 minutes in the morning. We affirm our good. I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm abundant, I'm good, everything's going well, I get the right job, I know the peace in my heart, peace in my mind. 5 minutes. And then the rest of the day goes, oh my God, things are so hard. This is awful. Nothing's working for me. I can't believe this is going on. So, we say it's done to us as we believe. We believe. We got to start. We have to prepare ourselves. I'm going to share a quote by the Dalai Lama, because I actually had this quote from last week, Surviving Storms, when Kirk did such a great job. When I woke up at 4 o'clock so sick, I don't know what happened, but I was so sick, and he just said, don't worry. Take care of yourself. Just everything's going to be okay. Thank you. But I had this from last week. This is the Dalai Lama. He says, a tree with strong roots can withstand the most violent storm. That's a good part. The second part's better. But the tree can't grow roots just as a storm appears on the horizon. So we wonder why the practitioners study for 4 years to become adept at prayer. We wonder why we have to do our work continually. Every day we have to wash our minds and our hearts and do our work to clear ourselves out, because we have to prepare ourselves for this paradox in life. The paradox that Ernest Holmes talks about is the universe is a paradox. The question is the answer. or it holds the answer, because the mind that has the question is the same mind that has the answer. So we have to prepare ourselves in good times for the times that are going to swing a little bit the other way. We've got to prepare ourselves. We've got to do the work. I don't think Dr. Jim is here today, but I didn't want him to correct me on this. So, no, I miss you, Jim. I really do. I miss you. But the disciples only asked one thing of Jesus, just one thing. And all the miracles he did, all the wonderful things he did for people, they just said, Lord, teach us to pray. That's the only thing they wanted to know how to do. Now, I've paraphrased this a little bit, what it says. But what Jesus said is, when you pray, say, God, sacred is your name. So that means God, everywhere present, all things, and good, sacred, holy. God, sacred is your name, and God's good is here. Isn't that simple? God's good is here. Now, in the Bible, it says the kingdom has come or something, so I changed it because I like God's good is here. But God's good is here. You don't have to have there are long, lengthy, beautiful prayers that I love and adore, but when you are practicing, when you're preparing yourself, preparation is needed. You can say, God's good is here. That's enough. God is all there is. God's name is sacred, and God's good is here. And that's for us to do. So we have to prepare ourselves. Prepare ourselves for the storms and the problems and the good and all of that. The other thing, we talked about being patient. Live in the question, so you're patient. Because, a prayer is answered as it is spoken, but it's not always answered exactly the way our mind or our heart wants. Ernest Holmes said, but we are born to be happy, to be abundantly supplied with every good thing. He doesn't say we are here to be supplied with everything we want, but we are here to be abundantly supplied with every good thing. And then he said to have fun in living, which means we have to practice right thinking. Right thinking means there's something in me right now, miraculous, that's waiting to be born. I can't see it, but I know it's there. It's in all of us, something miraculous. It's wisdom, it's creativity, it's love, it's kindness, it's compassion, it's truth. It's in all of us waiting to be born. It just needs that preparation, that opening. Hafez says, the pathway, the stairway of evolution leads us to God's door. And that's where we are. When we open ourselves up, that's where this evolutionary process leads us, right there to God's door. Now, what are we going to do? Who said that? Richard, Sue, you're so right. We're going to knock, because what happens? The door will be answered. What's the second thing you do? Seek, and you shall. And then it's knock, and the door will be answered. We have to do our part. We are co-creators with Spirit. That goodness is in us. That seed of possibility is in us. But we've got to do our part. We co-create with goodness. That's our job. My beautiful friend Rumi says, the breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. We got to keep doing our work. God's good is here. God's good is here. God's good is here. Don't go back to sleep. You have to ask for what you really want. You say it. People are going across the door sill where the two worlds touch. The door is wide and open. Don't go back to sleep. Our job right now, today, this day, when we heard this beautiful band singing United, we stand, when we saw all our volunteers stand, when all of you are here today, we've got to start feeling good. We've got to be able to live with the questions and the answers, the possibilities and the the pain sometimes that comes. We have to be able to hold it all and be feeling good right here in this moment. So I want you to stand up. You know how I tell you, just put your feet on the ground, no slouching around. If you can't stand, it's okay, I get it. But if you can, just keep your butt solidly on the chair, whatever you need to do. But be grounded, okay? I want you grounded in this world right now because we're here on purpose. There's not a person here that isn't here for a reason. And there isn't a person here that's done the very best they can up to this moment and is ready to do something a little bigger and better right now. So just say after me, I'm alive. I'm alert. I'm enthusiastic. I feel good. I look good. I am good. I live in the questions. I live in the answers. I love my life. And so it is. Yay! And thank you for being here. I love you all, and it's time to be feeling good.